So this is what happens when we're not ready on time.
Not even close.
So we still have cameras that are like out of whack. Also, you need to open. This is gonna be fun.
Oh my God.
Hang on, I might need to do this. So here we go. Welcome to the live show, everyone. As Dutta adjusts it live on the air, and I think the colors will probably automatically update as well. Jared, we'll start with you. Like, there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened this last week.
And what's cool is that not only are we late, I still have to get everything up to take it in. So, right. Anyways.
Talk about.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, if I'm going to talk about it and gather the images at the same time, I'm going to have to seriously multitask here and maybe perform a stall for time like I'm doing right now.
All right. Rather than stalling for time, how about Ryan? We, forgive me, did Big Bada Boom happen this week or was that last week? I've lost track of time.
That was Monday.
All right, you want to talk about Big Bada Boom?
I'm also equally unprepared for that.
Great.
What a great show this is.
I know, right?
Can you believe people give us money
That's how
to do this?
unprepared I am. So.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
We are professionals.
Nothing.
We are trained professionals.
And the best part is chat's not linked either. So,
nothing but respect for my producers.
Okay. Right, yes.
Yeah, so this is not the first. Lisa said, let's talk about Rogozin then. And forgive me, I've been a little bit disconnected. So what did he say now? Let me call up
it's not
Twitter.
what he said. He got the boot.
He was released from his position.
Is that bad, though?
I don't think
He's
so.
probably going to be promoted to a higher Russia governmental position militarily because he has quite publicly showed his support for Putin's little summer holiday.
I love how I just assumed that he said. I love how he just assumed he said something stupid. Right, like that's that's straight where I went to my.
He's always on Twitter moaning about something or other, just saying stuff that isn't generally acceptable to.
I mean, to be fair, you're not far
space
off.
Community.
I don't think I've actually heard him speak like before. I don't think I've actually heard his voice.
So you've only seen him on Twitter?
Yes.
Like I don't think I've heard him speak either. I think I've only seen him on Twitter. So we don't know what this means other than he's no longer in charge of Roscosmos.
I can get you. I'll bring up the. I have the links from the official Russia government website.
So I guess who's in charge now? Like, what does this actually mean, right? Because
this is the official press release which we have gotten. If you would like to go to the blue.
That's it.
Well, there we go. Right. Okay. So this is the press release.
It sounds like he was fired.
This has been translated from Russian to English using Google Translate, so anything that looks a little bit wrong grammatically, then that's why. But it reads, translated directly, Dmitry Rogozin was dismissed from the post of General Director of the State Corporation Roscosmos. The President signed the decree on Dio Rogozin. 1. Release Dmitry Olegovich Rogozin from the post of Director General of Roscosmos, and this decree comes into force from the date of its signing. And then 1 minute later, we got this release stating that Yuri Borisov has been appointed Director General of Roscosmos, and it's exactly the same.
What do we know
as
about
the last one?
What do we know about Yuri?
They've been appointed. Not much. So let's find out.
Oh wait, are we finding out in real time?
We're finding out in real time.
He looks like a 1960s
Ivanovich
Apollo.
Borisov.
No, he's a Bond
He's a
villain.
Russian politician who has served as the CEO of Roscosmos since 2022. This is up to date. From 2018 to 2022, he served as the Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, and from 2012 to 2018 as the Deputy Minister of Defense. He is a recipient of Order for Service to the Homeland in the Armed Forces of the USSR. That one, 3rd degree, or 3D degree.
If I had chat
born
working
on the 31st of December 1956 in Vishny-Volochrok, and they graduated from the Kalinin Suvorov Military School in 1974 from the Radio Electronics High Command School in 1978.
Okay, so basically has kind of already has a political background, right? So it's 6 of one, half dozen the other.
Yeah.
We expect no change at this point. It's kind of the same thing. And I don't have chat working, so
it just depends
me.
how different they conduct themselves publicly to how Rogozin conducted themselves, because as everyone will know, on the internet, Rogozin didn't exactly say the nicest of things about other people. It just depends how Yuri decides to act.
Yeah, as Johnny
in the public.
As Johnny Spacer said, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. The captain of outer space has agreed. Bond villain, right? That's what that picture looks like, as Bond villain, I think. Malkawai, sorry, Mac, says, does he support broomsticks? That's funny. Actually, we have a few of those. Joseph
I don't think that's on that Wikipedia article.
Joseph says, where's the trampoline?
Yeah, broomsticks and trampolines is how they're
I wonder
retorted.
if, yeah, I mean, part of the fun with Rogozin was just the Twitter accounts and like the crazy stuff that he would say on Twitter, and you're like, this is what are you talking about?
And he was talking about some Russian space station and nuclear tugs on Telegram the other day. Like I have no clue what was going through his head, but it obviously wasn't sanity.
Yeah. All right, so there we go. Are you finally ready with?
No, I have stuff to get.
Get your stuff,
Jamie.
All right.
This has been 25 years in the making.
Well,
y'all can wait another 10, 15 minutes.
We're not going to wait 25 years for it.
Get used to it. Get used to it.
Wait,
The president made you wait.
I have a thing I can do.
The president made you wait on Monday. NASA made you wait on Tuesday. So I'm going to make you wait on Friday.
Is that the theme of James Webb? Is you always have to wait?
Yes, good things come to those who wait.
It's good because you got to wait way too long for it.
Good to Good
Blue.
Good blue. Here we go. So, wonderful people of the internet, if you didn't see me post it on Twitter, if you would like a wonderful, already cropped image wallpaper of the first image, that is available. Just go on my Twitter, you'll find it. Also conveniently has our logo on there for self-promotion problems. So there's fitted for tablets.
That's pretty cool.
This is the 21 by 9 and then 16 by 9. So there you go. If you want it to be cropped and look correct in your phone's resolution or your tablet's resolution, then
that's
go
pretty
on my
sweet.
Twitter, you'll find it there.
Those images are cool. We were at Company X. We were all kind of gathered around computers. First off, I hope everyone appreciates how hard live broadcasting is after watching the James Webb Space Telescope broadcast, because like remote hits are difficult. Like this stuff is really actually quite difficult to do, and I felt so
they
bad.
streamed a link from the CSA to NASA via a YouTube stream being outputted to another YouTube stream. Like, I'm not gonna say that's quite, in my opinion, that's quite clever. I wouldn't have thought of that. Because if you think about it, YouTube ultra low latency is only a couple of seconds, so it's not even that bad.
I mean, it depends on the settings you choose. Because if they need to do government agencies are a little more limited on that because they need to do captioning, and you can't use ultra low latency with captioning, and so just weird isms that you got to deal with. My everyday. I did feel bad for them because like it wasn't just what you were seeing on the air, it was also like return audio in the ear and a whole bunch of other fun jazz. So like it was a bit of a mess, and like this stuff is really hard, and everyone was super eager to see it, right? Like we were all huddled around computers, but then we did the side by sides of like what Hubble saw and what James Webb saw, and we were like, whoa, it just blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to give James Webb all sorts of grief for being over budget, way late, but I got to give him credit where credit is due. Got it the first time, right? Like we didn't have a Hubble incident where we needed to give it glasses, not that we could have. And those images and those images are just astronomically phenomenal.
Wait,
I'm using that.
So I'm grabbing a little more than just the images right now, because this is significantly deeper than just the images that we were getting from Webb. I just want to say that. That's why this is taking so long, is because I'm getting you more than what you saw at the presser. I'm also grabbing other things that you didn't see that are also just as important, that will help you understand why this is such a big deal. because it's not just pretty pictures. It's also
I love that you're
capability.
waiting until we're on the air to actually grab the information for your story.
Well, that's kind of just how things went today. Let me tell you. I showed up without a shirt to wear. That's why I'm wearing this beautiful, lovely TMRO shirt that you can see right here. This is really difficult gesturing towards things.
You got one of the B-stock shirts too, because it's got like the smudge of.
Yeah, I've got one of the. I don't know if it's visible on air.
I don't think it is. I think we're crushing our blacks.
But yeah, it's like that time when everybody was like, "You got mustard on your shirt," and I was like, "No, that's just how the shirt looks."
Yeah, it's visible.
Oh, sick.
Oh my God! All right. So keep going with that. I can't talk about Big Bada Boom, obviously. Ryan, are you ready with Big Bada Boom by chance?
Should we headphone users warning? Let's will this work? Let's see if this works.
Oh, yeah, this is a little NASA Spaceflight action. You can tell.
Fun. There we go. Click. There we go.
I've made that noise before.
Nice, right?
It's cool that the acoustic shockwave shook the camera.
Yeah. You know it's interesting.
I mean, what wouldn't?
Gonna be honest here. Sometimes
that's really cool.
Sometimes I put my Jeep into gear and it kind of hits that hard.
That's my first to second shift.
That's really cool. So I can't talk about it, but like, have at it.
Yeah.
Oops.
So it looks like SpaceX is an oopsie. That was definitely not planned.
How about this? How about
I think our leading theory at the moment is that they were testing all 33 engines at the same time, and they probably shouldn't do that again, because that definitely was not meant to happen.
Yeah, I was. I don't want to necessarily say I was laughing on Twitter about it, but I was laughing about the people who are like, "Oh, that's not a big deal," because typically you don't want something that's kicking hard enough to generate, a very visible compression wave at the bottom of your vehicle. I think STS-1 kind of comes to mind when I think about pressure and overpressuring an overpressure wave.
STS-1 had an overpressure wave?
Yeah, when they lit the solids, it literally went up.
Can you see it in the broadcast?
I don't think you could see it in the broadcast. I think Dutta can actually probably speak to this a little bit better.
They didn't understand what the solids were going to do, and after STS-1, they added the water suppression system to the solids.
So STS-2 and forward?
Yes.
Yes.
They had the water suppression system. They've got like tarp buckets that they put in the SRB holes in the mobile launch platform.
Yeah. It was if you see
you can't really see anything in the footage.
What are they called? If you see close-ups of the solids, you can actually see. I think they're like red in color, right, Dutta? Or at least they look red.
Well, they've got red and yellow.
Red and yellow.
You don't really see anything in this
spacing
shot.
No,
it looks. It's a
not,
really
it's not
great
visible
shot, though, right? Like, how cool.
Oh yeah, that's an IMAX. That's from Hail Columbia, I think.
All right,
a good IMAX movie. So I'm sorry.
SRBs. So I guess what I'm asking now is there's no public. Elon didn't say anything on Twitter with regards to what I can barely ask questions here, right? So like,
yeah, from what I saw,
initially he said that was planned. On Twitter he was pinged a screen grab of the explosion by somebody. He replied to that saying, we're doing engine tests today, it's all planned. And then he deleted that tweet and then replied again saying, actually, that wasn't planned. So he'd obviously been briefed by the engineers at Starbase about what had actually happened. It had been a big boom underneath Booster 7. I'm not sure, to be honest. I haven't really looked at anything else he said after that. But he has clarified that it was not planned. This is something which SpaceX were not expecting.
There you go. These were added for STS-2 Plus.
So
there we go.
I guess I don't know what I'm looking at there. I see the solids. What's the red bits?
So you're looking at the pointing up left side of the orbiter. So you're looking at on the belly side of the external tank, and those holes is the flame holes for the solid rocket boosters, and those red like grid things are tarps that hold water. So that mass of water is a ablative sound suppression system. So that all of that gets absolutely destroyed upon ignition of the solid rocket boosters, but it prevents it from destroying other things.
So they did that for every launch from there forward. They basically put down tarps and had water. So effectively what you're saying is the red bits are tarps, and then there's water sitting on top of the tarp.
Yeah, they're like tarp buckets. Like if you make a taco out of a tarp and plug the ends.
Tacos.
So, okay, then that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And every launch they just had, and that's in addition to the sound suppression system on the pads.
Yes.
Huh.
Oh, I would say that's not in addition. I would say that's a part of the sound suppression system on the pad.
Yeah,
no, that's addition. So
you think it's in addition?
The water deluge sound suppression system is a separate function.
I would defer to Dutta on matters of shuttle.
Well, I mean, the water deluge system is still there on both pads. Well, at least on one pad.
Yes.
And like this isn't.
Well,
so
you can see part of the water deluge system here. This vertical pipe and the
white
diffuser thing. This little angled cap like sprayed water over the pad, but that's separate from acoustically dampening this trough.
Yeah, but that white pipe that goes around is part of the sound suppression system, right? Yeah, that's all the water deluge, and like it just starts dumping water out like buckets and buckets of water.
Yep.
Actually, for this last launch, I think it was CRS-25, there was a really cool wide view, and I think they took it prior to liftoff, where you could actually see that you've got the water tower at 39A, and you could actually see them doing fill in the water tower, and so it's just dumping water over the top because it's like
they fill the spill.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, and it's fun because if the wind blows in just the right way,
you get a rainbow.
No, far worse, because the two cameras that are the primary cameras for that particular vehicle, the rocket cam and then the fairing or dragon cam, sit under the water tower near the pad. And so now when the water is going over the water tower, it's actually on the other side of the tower. It's no big deal. But when the wind is blowing in just the right way, like towards the vehicle, it just dumps all of the water into the camera and everything starts shaking, and we can't use those cameras at liftoff. And I'm like, cool. So we're always kind of watch for that, like prior to T0.
That's funny.
Anyhow. All right, are you ready yet?
No, I'm not. I still have several images that I'm grabbing.
You're gonna have to start at this point. Jared.
Okay, so as I multitask as best I can, I haven't even opened up the images on the computer here yet. But as you can imagine,
literally, we've stalled for 20 minutes. I don't know how much more stalling I can give you.
I'm trying my best.
Just pull them up on a tab. We can show your computer.
I don't like it that way because I want to zoom into things and control them and actually work with them that way, because there is just so much that I need to explain here.
Scientists.
Okay, so first of all, you're correct. Secondly, I'm just, as you can see, thanks for taking all of that. I definitely appreciate that. With that there, and now you threw me off on my numbering so I could do things correctly here.
I thought you were ready.
No, I was not. And I'm still not ready now. So
oddly enough, Jared is over budget too.
Yeah, I am over budget.
Just go with what you got.
I'm trying to figure out how to manipulate the budget to make this actually go over budget. Hold on a second. I'm working it.
I don't know that we'll have a James Webb. Tomorrow does not have a James Webb type. Oh, actually, I think that's the thumbnail I used for the show. That particular image, right?
Ooh.
Okay.
It took you 20 minutes to come up with that image?
Okay, so first of all, this is not Webb's.
Do you know how many pixels there are there?
A lot. In fact, if you want to know how many they are, okay. So we've got some pixels here, but I want to point out something here, which is that this is not actually Webb's image. This is Hubble's image. This is of the Carina Nebula. Also
really pretty.
I know, isn't it? Isn't it pretty? But
how much? Well, actually, quick question for you. So that's beautiful. Like, there's a lot of really great color, but an artist did some of that, right? Like, an artist went through and colorized this image in a way that looks really pretty. Question mark?
Yes.
I'm not saying it's fake. I'm saying that there's been manipulation of the image to make it pleasing to the human eye because the sensor that grabbed it isn't necessarily like this.
Yes, these colors have been made to pop. Absolutely 100%. I don't. So everybody remembers the Pillars of Creation image that Hubble took. I've actually seen that spot in the sky called the Eagle Nebula through one of my own telescopes with my own eyes. It absolutely does not have all those colors to it. It's kind of a greenish color when you look at it through my eye, at least with my eyes. I guess depends on who you ask. But no, these colors are naturally occurring, but they are also unbelievably enhanced in order for you to kind of understand what you're looking at here. It's really difficult if we like actually showed you the stuff. So there's the updated Pillars of Creation that was done as a part of celebrating one of Hubble's anniversaries.
Looks like a scene out of Ghost Galaxy on Space Mountain.
Yeah,
when
just a little
Disneyland
bit.
does the Halloween overlay.
It's actually
like a cosmic hand reaching for you. Like,
yeah. Well, actually, it's the Eagle Nebula, so it's apparently supposed to look like an eagle. I don't see it.
I see a hand.
I just see they always name these things, and unless
Ryan,
it's like
do you see an eagle?
I don't.
No.
Does everyone see a hand? Right. That's
Yeah.
what we all see.
I
right?
see a hand.
It's a hand.
Okay.
I don't. I literally do not see anything. I just see a bunch of multi-light year long columns of gas. So
Thanks, Jared.
That's my cover band name.
Cover band for what? For who?
nice one, Betta.
For who?
Yeah, who are we covering?
Who are you covering?
Has yet to be determined.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
Chris Radcliffe has a really great way of putting this, which is specific mapping of detected colors to visible colors.
Yes.
So basically, we think that these are the proper colors that go in these spots.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Thereabouts.
It's false colored, but not an artist rendering.
Okay, yeah, that's. Well, I mean, I would argue it's still an artist that's doing that work.
It's enhanced. It's enhanced for public consumption.
Enhance.
Okay, here's a dumb question. If I were to get a spaceship and I go right there so I can see that, is that what my human eyes would perceive?
Absolutely not.
It would be very big.
It would not
closer.
be. Would that not be that prominent?
Perspective.
It would be very difficult to actually see it.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
Because it's not very bright. What you're seeing is the light being reflected off of these clouds of dust and gas, and that's not bright to begin with. You know, if you want to do it with a telescope here on Earth or in orbit, you have to do long exposures to actually pull these kinds of details out.
It's like an overexposure of an HHHDR photo.
It's fine. I get the idea.
Really.
I was trying to understand I was trying to understand how real it is, right? So I know it's real, but then I also know that there's some massage work that goes into it to make it something that we as mere mortals can comprehend and understand because of exactly what you said. Like, we can't see or perceive gas.
Yeah.
And so
It's
like,
very difficult.
This is a way of seeing and perceiving gas.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it any less real. It's just like what are the constraints that I'm working in?
So just based on my understanding of observation and physics and things like that, I would think if you flew a spacecraft, you know, with yourself in it out to this area, the Carina Nebula here, you would end up actually seeing more of the light from the stars that are there as opposed to the light coming off of the gas and dust being reflected back, because that's what's lighting those clouds up. So it's kind of like if you went to space, the sun is going to be brighter than the moon, even though the moon is reflecting sunlight.
Sure.
Like, no matter what, the sun will always be brighter than the moon.
Okay. So I
something like
sidetracked you for long enough.
Yeah,
and
'cause
what we just covered is true of every image we're about to see, right?
Yes. So this is Hubble, but this is Webb's version of that image. As I now get a beach ball. Whoops. These are big images, by the way. I would just like to point this out. So here is Webb's version of this image.
Can you zoom into the bit that?
Give it a moment.
Holy smokes.
So we could see that there's a lot more detail in the gas cloud here. And the reason that we've got a lot more detail in the gas cloud here is because we're looking in the infrared. So in the infrared, we can have this very interesting thing where we can actually see the heat, you know, the infrared light coming off of something. So that means that infrared light will go through these gas and dust clouds very, very easily, which means that if there's objects behind these gas or dust clouds, we're going to be able to see them.
Maybe that should be the new background for our show. Like, right? Because we got that kind of. It's so beautiful.
Isn't it great?
So Hubble is visible light, is that correct?
Yeah. So this is a visible light image.
Hang on. Hubble's a lot of different things, right? It depends on the sensor you use.
Visible. It's also near infrared and a little bit into ultraviolet as well.
Okay.
So
Ultraviolet is on the high end.
yeah, it would be a higher end.
So
with that. So
James Webb is infrared, so it's the lower end of the spectrum.
near infrared into infrared, yeah. So it's a redder than red, I guess is how I would describe it, or how I've been describing it.
Redder than
to
red or
folks.
bluer than blue?
Redder than red. So because
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if somebody's if I'm going to get corrected, someone in the chat room will absolutely roast
I
me.
would correct you, but I always invert which side of the wavelength red and blue are on.
Well,
180 degrees. I
ultra-
always do it.
Ultraviolet is on the violet side of the spectrum.
I got that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you say it's on the ultra side of the violet spectrum?
It's like violet, but like
ultra.
ultra.
Web.
No, I invert which one is the longer versus which one's the narrower
Blue is
wavelength.
longer. Blue is longer.
I know, and I always think red is longer for some reason. And so then I have to sit there and we're like, and you would think the
Wait,
Empress
what
of
did you-
Photons
wait, what
would
did you just
know
say?
which one
No, what did you just say?
that I have to sit there and think.
No, which one did you say is the longer of the two? Red or blue?
Blue.
Red.
Yes.
Red is red.
Red is the longer.
So no, wait, hold up. Now I've actually confused myself. So the problem
my
is,
God.
so when I think about it too much, I get it right.
Oh, right.
And then I can't. It doesn't matter. Keep
Yeah,
going.
I got it
The
backwards.
higher
I'm
energy,
sorry.
the shorter the wavelength.
Yeah, red is
Low energy, so it's going to have very long wavelength. So basically, when you go from infrared, you go down into radio. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Infrared
So-
microwave radio.
Yeah, I got it wrong.
So,
whatever. Sure.
anyways,
Keep going.
yeah. So back to what I was talking about. This is Stephen's Quintet, which a viewer pointed out very rightly last week that I said it's 4 galaxies. It's 5 because it's a quintet. And
Is it 2 galaxies slamming into each other in the middle?
And actually, all 5 of these galaxies are interacting with each other to the point that they are going to combine over the next billion years into one big galaxy.
I can't wait to see.
So
How big is each galaxy as compared to ours?
that is a great question. I do not know the answer
How
to
many
that.
football fields is it? Because they keep calling James Webb a football field, but I don't know. You use some weird, wonky,
I
dodgy
honestly-
American football measurement for that.
Man, I don't know how many bananas this is, if we're going to be honest here.
Lisa
So
just asked how many bananas. I was waiting for that. I was sitting
Very
here
nice.
waiting. I was gonna do it, but
Thank
I was
you,
like,
Lisa.
no.
but I just wanted to show off Webb's version of this as well. And again, these are big files.
Wait, hold up. This is Hubble?
This is Hubble.
Oh my
So here's
God.
Webb's version of it.
What?
And Webb is
Wait, go
infrared.
back. Hang on.
So Hubble's invisible light. So that means that we've got a whole bunch of gas and dust that's blocking our view of the structure and the stars that are there and all those other things. And then you pop on over to Webb, and Webb is infrared, so it cuts right through, and you see all these areas where stars and high energy gas and other things are clustered at. So that means you end up seeing structure that you didn't know was actually there. You can even see that.
Can you zoom in 1-to-1 for me really quick? I just want to see the resolution as well.
Okay,
right?
yeah, let's go back to Hubble. So here's Hubble's resolution, right?
Oh, wow, that's actually really good. That's
pretty
really
good.
cool.
So, I mean, we're seeing individual, I guess what we would call nebulae and big, very big clusters of stars in these galaxies here. Now, let's go to Webb.
I love how you have to hit the button and then sit here and wait.
Yeah, well,
I watched you hit the button and
spared-
it's still going. Okay.
I spared no expense in terms of hardware.
Apparently, I need to get you a bigger
of
computer.
hard drive size when it comes to this
We're gonna
one.
need a bigger boat. Well, that doesn't seem like it's that much more. What am I missing here?
Oh, it just resolved.
Oh,
There you go. There's that galaxy we were looking at.
Took a moment.
Look at that. And you can actually, let me try to center the core of that galaxy right there.
other
And then I also want you to look too. Look about halfway off of the screen towards the right side. You can actually see the structure of another galaxy that's behind that one in it right there.
Actually, I was just going to ask this question, and JTTV brings it up, which is a really good point in the chat room, which is Hubble took days for that photo over many orbits, whereas Webb took hours.
Yes.
And that matters because
Yes.
the longer you have to keep that aperture open, effectively, the sensor open, resolving light, the more, what do I want to say, sensitive to any type of motion you are.
Yes.
The greater your chance of not distortion.
Blurring.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not too much. It's not actually as big of an issue as you think it is because it's in space.
Yeah, but
So
you're
there's
still
really not actually something there that would generate a vibration or some sort of distortion in the movement of your vehicle.
No, but Hubble,
like you would with a telescope here on Earth.
No,
but Hubble's still orbiting the Earth, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Is
so
there not
that means
gravitational?
so that means it has to hold position. So, and it will use its reaction wheel systems that it has on board, which are
But hang on. I guess my point is, for it to hold position, it needs to do that and maintain that position precisely.
Yes.
Even with slug tug gravity, right? Just even a little bit. If it's keeping its aperture open for days or weeks at a time,
Yes.
it cannot move forward at all. At all.
Not necessarily, because it's going to. So the way you're going to operate a space telescope is that you're not going to set it up so that for an entire month it's pointed at one specific spot. You're going to figure out when can you have a specific spot observed as you are slewing the telescope between other things. So there's going to be different observation arcs, different observation campaigns that are going to occur, and whenever you can squeeze a little extra time in because the telescope happens to be pointed that way, we can move it a little bit.
So you're saying not only
grab some photons.
Not only are we keeping the aperture open, but we're also building a composite of areas, right? So we're mapping little cubes. So we maybe aren't keeping the aperture open or keeping it capturing light for a week straight in one whole area. We're doing it for a much shorter amount of time in just a little quadrant and then stitching it all back together.
Well, I'm more saying, like, if we're going to be looking out over here, there might be a series of observations that someone wants to do for their study here, here, and here.
Okay.
And then there might be a 6-hour block where there's nothing scheduled. So we'll go ahead and do this, this, and this. And then for that 6 hours, let's just go ahead and point the telescope at that spot that we've been gathering light at over the past, 20 years, like with the Hubble deep fields that they've done. So, because they keep revisiting the same spot. So that doesn't mean that they have taken, that much data in one shot. They've spread out almost a month's worth of data over the 2 decades that they've taken the deep field images during.
So even that in itself, doesn't that distort the data because the things in the background have shifted or we have shifted in relation to the background in our galaxy?
No. The movement of things, so things are moving really, really fast out there. They could be moving immensely fast, and it will still take a tremendous amount of time, well beyond a human time scale, for us to actually be able to see it. You need to, these are, in order to see things actually in motion, it takes decades of observation in order to do that. There's a really great animation out there showing some of the material coming out of the black hole in M87 that Hubble took, and it's like a 15 frame GIF, and that was 15 frames taken over 20 years, and you can just barely see it moving. So in terms of like any kind of human time scale of observation, even going back hundreds of years, there's really not much that has moved in the sky.
So that's probably my issue, is that my puny human brain can't deal with scales of this measure, right? Time scales and distance scales, right? These are so far away, dealing on time frames that are so large that it doesn't matter.
No,
we can just really sit there and point at it, and like, to me, like, any little movement is going to make a big. And you're saying like, no, this is so vast over such a huge cosmic landscape that like you're fine.
Yeah. So planets will move, night by night, throughout your lifetime.
These aren't looking at planets, right? That's a stupid statement. These aren't looking at our local cluster.
No.
These are not looking at our right.
There's a handful of stars in this image. So basically, as it was told to me by someone who actually works on JW, that everything you see with those diffraction spikes is within our own galaxy, and then every other point of light is not. So, there's a handful of stars.
Oh, wait. So the stars that have little pointy things on them, those are in our galaxy?
So those are in our own galaxy.
So those are Milky Way stars.
Yes.
But then if it doesn't have a pointy thing on it, it's so far away, it's not in our galaxy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then, like, think about it, because
you should have opened with that, Jared. That's really great data. I had no idea.
Think about it, because if we, like, go somewhere over here and we see, like, all these things right here that don't have diffraction spikes, these are all galaxies. I think there's I'd say 6 stars in this image right here, and then the rest of them are galaxies.
Can we use that as a way, like the amount of you said it's just diffraction off the lens, right?
Yeah.
If the more and less of that we get, can we use that as a data for the distance to and from us, and then build a 3-dimensional plot of all these objects and bump map that into the plot?
Yeah, so typically what we can do with things that are what we call extragalactic, or basically outside of the Milky Way, we're often going to be using redshift in order to determine how far away they are. So within the Milky Way, we can actually use parallax, or basically the ability, taking images on one side of the Earth's orbit and then taking images on another side of the Earth's orbit. And there is a mission that does that from the European Space Agency called Gaia, which is doing what's called astrometry, which is ultra precise measurement of objects in the sky. And it's done about 1 million stars in our own galaxy and made one of the most accurate star maps that we've ever made so far.
In 3 dimensions.
In 3
dimensional space.
And that also includes the directions that the stars are moving as well. So that sort of tells us a little bit more about the structure of the Milky Way and things like that. So the data from Gaia was actually one of the ways that we figured out that our Milky Way isn't really like a pizza. It's kind of got these like little twists coming off of it towards the ends. So yeah. Which is like really cool to think about that they actually did that just by looking at the speed and direction that the stars are moving.
What else you got?
Oh, I got some more stuff. So, okay. So here's another image of those same galaxies. This is taken at a different wavelength of infrared light. Specific wavelengths of infrared light show us specific things. This is gas that is inside of these galaxies here. So,
which observatory took this?
This is Webb.
This is Webb.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I'll make sure to specify whether it's Webb or Hubble, because I do still have a couple comparisons ready to go with it. Also, with these first observations of these galaxies from Webb, we're already doing what's called spectroscopy, or we're taking spectra, the light, and breaking it up into that rainbow pattern, and then finding these little black lines in that rainbow pattern, and that is a specific element absorbing a specific wavelength of light, and it will do that in the infrared. We have found things, not just hydrogen, but we've also found things like iron and neon and sulfur and oxygen and argon, and just a whole host of things that tell us that it's not just gas that's around this black hole in another galaxy. There's also solid stuff around it,
and this
like
is
dust.
This is similar to our own, like what we see in our nearby neighbors sort of thing?
Yeah.
So this is more kind of like leading us towards intelligent life likely exists out there somewhere.
Well,
I'll narrow that back down to life.
I was going to say, this is more in terms of like showing us that cosmology and physics around the universe works precisely the same as it does here.
Critically, it's precisely the same over time, because what we're seeing is billions of years old.
Yeah, that too. So Dutta makes a really great point, which is that physics has been stable, I guess is the way to put it, with that there, which is a really weird way to put it, right? But that's what we're showing, is that the laws and other things that we understand in our universe
Physics
are
has been stable.
inadvertent.
Okay.
Inadvertent naming.
Well, we got one potential name for the show.
Thanks. Also want to show this because this is just kind of breaking down how this works, which is that we look at the spectra, we see specific wavelengths of light. At different wavelengths of light, you get different absorption, or basically different black lines in that rainbow pattern, or in this case, an infrared rainbow. Just so that way you and I can understand it, since we can't see infrared light. So once again, we are fudging the colors.
Spectrum,
Here we
right?
go.
It wouldn't be an infrared rainbow, because you wouldn't be able to get different color. You'd always be in red.
Look, I don't have a better way to explain it than that.
Infrared spectrum.
That's a super nerdy Pink Floyd shirt.
From near
Hold up.
Oh, God.
Hold up.
Another one. Wow, we're on a roll.
Red rainbow.
Beyond the infrared rainbow.
Beyond
the next Cosmatos movie.
Beyond
sequel.
The infrared
Sequel
rainbow.
Time.
We got two two possible.
I just don't have a better way to describe it so that you can so that people who are not astronomers could understand it.
Robert, I would wear that shirt as well.
Yeah,
I feel like
me too.
This is a shirt that we need to get.
Yeah, I think we're going to consider it made. But you could go from like near infrared to deep infrared, I guess. But that doesn't you're not going to really understand that particularly well. At least to me, I'm not going to understand it particularly well. Look, even I'm like blown. Even I have a hard time comprehending this kind of stuff going on with it. But I guess going back to what I was showing right there. Thank you. Since I waited 20 minutes to get this together for you all, I'm going to take my time showing it.
Yeah, I just figured this whole show would be this. But the
Maybe
first
just a
20
little
minutes
bit.
was us struggling to get to this.
Yeah.
And then once we got here, it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you put the big ride in the back of the park, right? So that way, everybody. Anyway.
That's not how broadcasts work, Jared.
Okay. Well.
And exit through the gift shop.
Yeah, that's where we got the shirts. So we could see here, we could see things that there's different type. We could see different types of hydrogen, and then also we could see iron there as well, which is like really wild. Like, oh my gosh, there's all these elements.
Wait, hold on. Zappan is saying that this is with regards to like the stars or the like the star filter effect that's going on.
Yes.
The local stuff is so bright that it overwhelms the detector and leaks to adjacent pixels. Isn't it that it's so bright that it's leaking to the adjacent mirrors? Like it's bouncing because the mirrors aren't perfect, or they have those lines.
How dare
right?
you say the mirrors are not perfect?
Sorry, the mirrors are perfect. That's how this is working. But they have.
It's
they're
okay,
in that
Webb.
kind of
She
like,
didn't mean it.
They're in that hexagonal formation, right? And
Well,
so that's why we're getting 6-pointed stars.
Like it looks that way because of the general. I think it's the general shape of the mirror. So I am not an expert by any means with light, because the physics of light is just so wild, and how light works and optics and things like that. I am by no means an expert. So if someone in the chat room actually knows why they're six-sided and have that shape, you're welcome to it. I just know that someone from the James Webb team told me personally that anything that has a diffraction spike is likely either within or close enough to be within the influence of the Milky Way. So,
yeah, so and as Lisa says, and this was my understanding too, the spikes are the inverse of the lines between the detectors.
awesome. There you go. Bingo. So perfect. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, that's good stuff, ain't it? So that's pretty cool. All right. So back to the cool things.
And Jaden says, and the gaps between the mirrors. Which,
Yes.
which also, right, like I thought it was all based, because it's all kind of that general like hexagonal shape, which is why you're getting a 6-pointed star. Because you can get
Yes.
a 4-pointed star, 6-pointed, like it all depends on how the light is interacting with
Yeah.
the sensor. And so in this case,
Yeah.
there you go.
Bingo. So we're also able to measure the velocity of all this stuff moving around the black hole that's tens of millions of light years away from us, which is just like absurd. And then not only that, we also know exactly what's moving around at those speeds as well. So we could see which specific gases or dusts or other things are moving around at those velocities.
And
so,
Loopy did correct me. It is an 8-pointed star. So like my general
yeah,
stuff is all
maybe you
wrong.
should learn to count.
Yeah, I should learn.
Which I guess I need to learn to count too. Anyways, I just want to show this one, the Southern Ring Nebula. This is a Hubble image of this. And then are we ready for Webb? Ready to jump to
ready
Webb
go,
here?
ready go.
And here comes Webb,
Well, I mean,
showing us.
that's more of a comparison side by side.
No, this is actually the two different main instruments, infrared instruments on Webb itself.
Oh, I thought the
So-
right one was Hubble and the left one was Webb.
Nope, these are both Webb, and these are both at different infrared wavelengths, and they both tell us completely different things. So let's go on a journey.
Enhance.
Enhance.
I love that you can actually zoom in. It looks like an eyeball.
I know,
Like
right?
if we were to zoom into an eyeball, isn't that what that looks like?
Kind of. It's almost like the nature has structure to it at times. Wow, it's so pretty. Look at that. Look at those waves in those. Oh, it's just so good. But the thing is, you can already see structure there that wasn't visible in the Hubble imagery, even in the near-infrared Hubble imagery that was there. So now we can look at this and we could say, oh, when did this star blow off a certain layer, with things like that when in the formation of this nebula? Because that's what this is. This is a planetary nebula. So this is what our sun is going to do, which is basically at the end of its life, it's going to run out of fuel and it's going to really no better way to say it, burp out its outer layers into space and seed the
Find
next
a petrol
generation.
station or anything to fill it back up with more fuel?
Unfortunately, I don't think we have enough money to do that.
That's
so
that cost of living crisis, isn't it? The price of diesel and petrol is just going to the roof.
yeah,
Oil prices,
quite literally inflation.
Can't refill the sun.
And actually, the wild thing about that is that the sun is going to get bigger because of that. So it is both economic and physical inflation that the sun will go through over the next 4 to 5 billion years that we have there. But yeah, just already like looking at these two images, we have structure that was not visible, that is already telling us something that Hubble was, I don't want necessarily Hubble was not capable of telling us, but Hubble would have had a very difficult time being able to actually show us with that there.
Hubble's capability was so 1970s.
Oh yeah, it totally is. Yeah. I'm sure we'll cross that NRO bridge when we get there. Also, Webb took its first spectra of the atmosphere of a exoplanet as well. This one's called Wasp 96b. It orbits a star which is called Wasp 96. It's about half the mass of Jupiter, so it's pretty big. And in addition to that, it's what they call a hot Saturn, so which basically means that it is very big. It's a gas giant, and it's orbiting its star really, really close. So it actually orbits its star once every 9 days. The temperature of its atmosphere is roughly 1,000 degrees Celsius. So Ryan, I don't think you have anything to complain about, if you ask me. And
Keeping it relevant.
That's
Love it,
not fair.
Jared.
You're welcome.
That's not fair. Do they have houses that are designed to keep the heat in? Do they? No.
So are you saying it's worse where you are than 1,000 degrees? What did you say, Celsius? What was your unit of measurement?
1,000 degrees Celsius.
The things that live there, if they exist, they don't have to deal with insulation, keeping the heat in. Okay, this is
You don't know
this
that.
is a problem.
You don't know
can't.
that.
You'd have to have a 12 million BTU air conditioner to keep up with that, dude.
Keeping it relevant, Jared. I love it.
I'm trying.
I love it.
I'm trying.
For those who don't know,
And R437 insulation.
for those who don't know, Ryan's in the UK somewhere. I don't know. And apparently it's really, really freaking hot over there right now.
Yeah, it is actually. We're
Oh, you're in a weather warning.
Yeah,
Like he's calling it up right now.
It is. It
on
is
Monday.
Actually a serious deal. So maybe actually now I
So,
kind of feel bad about making the joke.
Yeah, completely sidetracking.
Whoa.
So, there is this is unprecedented. It's the first red extreme weather warning for heat in the history of the United Kingdom. It's
Yeah.
going to be hitting it's going to be hitting 40 degrees on Monday and 41 degrees on Tuesday. That's Celsius, not
Yeah.
freedom units. The highest ever recorded temperature in the UK was 38.7 degrees Celsius in 2019. So, yeah, this is like.
For those
we
who
shouldn't
don't know,
joke about it. This is serious.
for those who don't know, 40 degrees Celsius is 104 Fahrenheit, which
That's hot.
I mean, it's hot.
That's
but like,
toasty.
it's toasty, but it's
That-
not
that's
that bad.
Tuesday in Mojave,
Yeah,
man.
that's we deal with that all the
We
time.
don't
over here.
have the vast majority of buildings, houses, etc. in the UK are designed to keep heat in, and they do not have air conditioning. So we literally live in ovens, and we're not built for weather over 20 degrees Celsius, and this is double that, which is just insane.
Well,
Thanks, Al Gore.
Ryan, if I can give you a bit of advice, you all are on an island, so think about what you can do in order to cool down.
All right, move back to James Webb. Back to James Webb.
So, speaking of what you could do to cool down if you live on an island, we found water in the atmosphere of this exoplanet. And not only did we find water, the amazing thing about it is that we found haze. So, in other words, like this water has evaporated and it's in the atmosphere and it's actually generating haze that you can see. So, just like how our atmosphere, so you are limited sometimes with the visibility in what you can see. I mean, we've all seen a launch from Vandenberg. You know what I'm talking about. So,
Once again, keeping it relevant. Love
this
it. Love
planet is Vandenberg, for all we know. This is where all the people who work at Vandenberg eventually end up.
Why does that create 4 separate spikes, or presumably 5 based on the pattern?
Simply because that is the wavelengths
What does that mean? So it's got water in the atmosphere and haze. Does that mean anything other than we were able to detect water and haze?
Well, we were able to.
Why does that matter?
So basically, we know that this water is in its gaseous state. So that's what the haze means. Also, we found clouds, water vapor clouds in the atmosphere as well.
So that could be a somewhat Earth-like planet, other than it's probably huge.
Well, I was gonna say it's also at 1,000 degrees Celsius. So
I said Earth-like.
That's not really Earth-like anywhere that I could think of with that. And I think it's amazing that you would have 1,000 degrees Celsius and you could still have water clouds in your atmosphere. So that's got to be some absolutely wild things that are happening there. But it is also a gas giant at the same time, if you think about it. So that's just this is just a capability that we've never had before. We've never been able to be this precise about the atmosphere of an exoplanet. And the thing is, this exoplanet is also hundreds of light years away from us. It's not like one of the close ones that we're going to look at very soon. So the closer ones are going to be even more precise. We're going to be able to see. It's just going to be really exciting in order to see stuff like that.
Alien airplanes flying.
Possibly, like little alien chemtrails in the atmosphere.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the ones we don't talk about. So
that's what those.
yeah. I also wanted to show this because this was just released yesterday, which these are engineering these are sort of like the commissioning engineering photos of some of the instruments looking at Jupiter there. So we could see several of Jupiter's moons, Europa being very, very bright.
Wait. So this is James Webb swinging around looking at Jupiter.
Yes, for commissioning.
So we were like, let's see if this thing works, and pointed it at Jupiter, and like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, one of the things that you can do with infrared astronomy is study the outer planets in really great detail.
It looks like our sun. The way they colored this, it looks like a giant.
They're showing you
fireball,
hot and warm areas
through a dirty mirror
in a big dirty church. So
in space.
Well, hang on. See, Jupiter's ring. I don't see Jupiter's ring. Is that kind of middle?
Yeah.
Are we off axis? Is that middle section?
We are off axis here. I'm going to turn to you. So here's Jupiter's ring that you can see, and I
can see it.
I believe in my next
I've got a VU meter in the way. Okay,
so my next image isn't the one with the ring that you can see really well, but this is a much higher resolution commissioning image that we were able to do. And what's great about this is that we have a spacecraft at Jupiter right now called Juno, which has an infrared sensor on it. Mm-hmm. And what we could do is you can aim James Webb at Jupiter as Juno is getting close to Jupiter, and you can do observations at the same time, co-observations. And then why not just throw Hubble in there as well? And like suddenly you've got 3 spacecraft all looking at the same object at the same time in great detail, and you could compare them and just do an incredible amount of science with it. Again, this is one of those things where we're looking at it and it's amazing. And it's partly amazing just because of if it's this good in the commissioning phase, what can we do with it? 2, 5, 10 years down the road when it's working.
Once it gets cold.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's cold. It's already
at
our temperature.
Sun? Is that our sun in the lower left?
No, that's Europa.
That's Europa. Why is there a black dot? Are they doing that?
Because it's overloading.
Okay, so we're over
the sensor again.
Yep.
Europa's.
So they're using black magic.
So it's
Ursa sensors.
Exactly. Yeah, or Nikon.
Nikon, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they used a Nikon SLR.
I'm gonna get a call from Black Magic on that one. They're gonna be like, "Hey, be nice."
Yeah. Maybe they should have gone mirrorless.
What are all the black spots inside of the circle of Jupiter?
So that one black spot by the Great Red Spot, which in this case is the Great Hot Spot, I guess, that is the shadow of Europa being cast.
No, I'm talking about the black spots.
The black spots.
Yeah,
I don't know. Hold on, let me zoom in.
It's like peppered.
Oh, I think those are just maybe dead pixels.
Dead pixels already?
So we're commissioning it, and we are accepting dead pixels.
This is an engineering.
I would send it back to the vendor and have them fix that.
Is an engineering. Sure.
Do they have a maximum amount of dead pixel count before they'll do an RMA?
I have no idea. So it's a great question. We should get somebody on to talk about it, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to point out the rings here.
Yeah. You can see. Yeah, that's so cool.
So, you could see the rings of
Jupiter
right
has
there.
rings. Can you
Jupiter
see
does
Jupiter's
have-
rings from Earth, or are they too wispy to see with like an Earth observation?
Well, if you have a James Webb Space Telescope, you
No,
can
I
see
meant
them.
on the surface of Earth, like shooting through our atmosphere.
No, absolutely not. They're made out of dust, and that really does not reflect a lot of light. Saturn's rings are visible, very easily visible, because they're made out of water ice.
Hopes and dreams.
And hopes and dreams and unicorn farts and rainbows and other things like that. So that reflects a lot of light.
The launch
you know?
pad. I actually
missed
started
that.
choking on my drink. Launchpad said, "Have you seen the cameras on the space station? NASA loves dead pixels."
Nice one, Launchpad. Nice one. Sorry. Oh, yeah. HDev. Yeah, good stuff. Sorry, Liam. Didn't mean to make fun of you there. So, so pretty amazing that we're able to do that. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune have rings. It's just that they're made of dust, so it's really difficult to see them. So you have to basically go into infrared and do that. And infrared is a massive advantage over visible light, simply because of the distances to those planets.
So, and James Webb could resolve those rings on Neptune and Uranus.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Yeah,
because
piece of
I mean,
cake.
like distances keep getting further, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
they were pretty wispy in that, but like,
Yeah.
I think these can still.
Yeah, we're like oh my gosh, almost 1 billion kilometers out at Jupiter. So, and then we're definitely like 1.5 billion or 1.6, something like that. I don't know. It's far away. It's far.
Okay.
That's how I put that.
Cool.
It's far.
What's next?
The
This is
next-
fun. Like, just keep going.
The next one is,
Oh, yeah, I
is
like
the
this
final
one.
one
This is
that
a
I
good one.
have
This is a good one.
for all of us, which was the first one that was revealed, which was this epic, unbelievable deep field image that took 12 hours to get this image, which I don't know if somebody, whether Ryan or Dutta, wants to kind of pull it up. But there is an image that shows Hubble's equivalent of this over 10 days of observation, and it's just like there's not much there compared to what we have with Webb here.
So it's 10 days, not as good. And how long did you say this took? This took hours?
12 hours.
12 hours. So
So
half a day
roughly.
versus 10 days.
Yeah. So this is I mean, thinking about this image and the things that you could see in this image.
So that's Hubble, right?
I don't think
Yes.
so.
No?
That doesn't look like what I saw. Quite with it there. If you want to jump off of mine, I might be able to grab it real quick for you there. But there's a really good GIF somebody made out there that kind of shows the difference between the two with that.
Hang on.
But-
I think I got it.
Yeah, you got it, Jamie. You got it exactly. It's almost like I was joking that it's like the before and after pictures when you go to a dentist and somebody's looking at things, with it there.
I'm zoomed in a bit here, but like
Yeah.
you still get a pretty good idea.
There you go.
I mean, the first problem is over here you only have 4 points on the star as opposed to the 8 points over here. So
Yeah.
obviously not as good.
Far superior.
So it's like 4 points here versus 8 points. And yeah, I have to shake my mouse in order to get it to show up on the screen versus 8 over there.
It wasn't hard for us to determine that was a star because it turns out there's a really big arrow orbiting around it out in space.
It's amazing that James Webb allows it anyhow.
Yeah, look at that. We can even see the arrow. We were talking earlier.
So
Look at you,
Loopy
Ryan.
Just
there you go,
Just shared
perfect.
this website. I'll put it. Hang on. Here we go. This one. Webcompare.com.
Oh,
so this
brilliant.
is Hubble.
Oh, I love that. It's a
And-
Webb compared to. Oh, that's so cool.
And they have them for all of the images really so far. So here's the Southern Ring Nebula. You can just see how much more detail there is.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Again, look at all those structures that were not necessarily easily seen there.
So we only get half the image here, but just look at that.
Yeah, that also shows you that Webb takes a high resolution image at a different wavelength with a much bigger field of view as well, which is important in those kinds of things.
So now what? So we've got this incredible observatory sitting out in space
Yeah.
doing getting these really incredible pictures. And I'll be frank, I really thought because it was infrared that we weren't going to get epic images like Hubble. I just thought, okay, these are all going to look like engineering type images. No. You know what I mean? Like not the kind of really cool Hubble-y visible light things. And I was like, oh, I mean, that's fine. Like, we'll do cool engineering things with them, but like, we're not going to. And then these first images come out and I go, oh my God, these are epic. These are beautiful.
I don't know.
Absolutely beautiful.
I don't know who at NASA is figuring out how to put color to these images. Because genuinely, when you look at actual raw data and raw imagery from something, there's really no color to it. It's black and white because you want the data. You don't care. There is color data, obviously, which helps determine things, especially with spectra. You want color data, but really in general, there's not much of what I would call dedication to color and trying to make it look correct.
Loopy has a really great buy your data visualization friends a drink when you see them. The folks who take the data and make it beautiful, and making the data beautiful and making it accessible to people, I think is very important because taxpayers paid for this telescope.
Yes, they did.
And so
we sure did.
Right. And
we paid a lot.
And then we paid some more, and then we waited some more and paid some more, and being able to go, okay, this is what all of that was for. This is why. Like, look at this amazing stuff. But it's not just look at
that. It's just stunning.
It's not a $10 billion desktop wallpaper.
It's not exactly. So we also need to there needs to be real data as to like what
the science is.
Yeah, what is the science? What are we getting out of this? So what are we learning here? What does this get humanity?
One thing that we're doing is that we are pushing that cosmic horizon, that ability of Hubble where it limits itself simply because of the wavelengths of light it looks at, and those wavelengths. Hubble is limited in its overall distance. Eventually, everything redshifts so far into the red, it becomes infrared. So essentially, James Webb is allowing us to look at the stuff that's redder than red, or the stuff that has red shifted redder than red. So Hubble was sort of.
I guess I'm asking, why do we care? Like, it's my thing that I always ask with astronomy. Like, why? And it's a hard one to answer.
It is.
I guess I'm not like, you don't have to justify. I'm not asking you to justify James Webb's telescope, but saying that,
I could tell
could you justify James Webb's space telescope for us?
Well, I could tell you my personal take. If you want me to, this is always why I've been interested in astronomy, which is that we're kind of looking at ourselves when we look out there.
What do you mean?
We are looking at where we came from. You know, the stuff that makes up our body, like the hydrogen that was in the water I drank, which is now running through my body, was formed likely tens of billions of years ago. You know, over 10 billion years ago.
Is the coffee that's flowing through my body, was that formed tens of billions of years ago?
Well, the hydrogen, the H2O in it, likely, I gotta say. In some respects, there's other elements, you know, in our bodies that have been around for billions of years, and we're looking at these amazing processes where it actually happened, and like it's almost like the universe is sampling itself, you know, like it's like we're a part of we are clearly a part of the universe, right? Like we are here, we're in the universe. So we're a product of the universe, I guess.
Without getting too deep, as we continue to look at the universe and we continue to see ourselves in the universe, do we think that maybe the universe is trying to tell us something?
I think that's much more of a philosophical question.
It absolutely
is. Whether it is.
No, it absolutely is.
I am absolutely not, unfortunately, a philosopher. I don't feel like
philosophizing.
I don't necessarily say I don't feel like philosophizing, but I don't feel like I can do that question justice because I really that's not something I think about very often.
All right, well then let me ask the community. I would love to know, as we continue to get these amazing observatories out there and we continue to find ourselves out in the stars, right? That's what you're saying to me.
Yeah.
Is we're finding ourselves out there. Is that do you think that that's the universe trying to tell us something about ourselves? And if so, what do you think that is?
Yeah.
Or not? Or
am
I just
Smokey here with the Carl Sagan quote. You know, if anybody's going to put it really well, it's Carl Sagan. You know,
that's
we're
true.
a way for the universe to know itself. That's very true. So, it's just you got to.
Is that? I mean, he's not wrong. It's the universe telling you that you're not special. I just assume gender.
Well, we're not
he or she, yeah.
like we're not. I mean,
God.
I don't want to necessarily say the sun's boring and so's the earth, but I mean,
But the
you know.
greatest discoveries, the friends we make along the way.
Yeah, okay. I feel like with Webb, if Webb has the capability to find biosignatures, which would be amazing. I don't know if that would be the huge paradigm shift that Hollywood movies want you to think it is.
Why wouldn't it be? I mean, if you're finding biosignatures, you're effectively proving that life exists in one form or another. Are you not?
So I feel like
I mean, we kind of already know that.
I don't want to necessarily be a pessimist as we're trying to be optimists here, but I feel like if we don't walk into the Star Wars cantina with all the aliens there, people are gonna like just laugh it off. And like if I walked in with a petri dish and said, look, we found this on Europa, most people are going to be like, what's in the dish? You know, most people, it's not going to be as impactful
So I agree.
Most folks.
Okay, I agree.
So-
I agree with that statement that if we don't find intelligent life out there and we just find,
Algae or
whatever the case may be, non-intelligent life.
tube worms or something like that.
Right. I think people will not be as impacted as if it were intelligent life, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's nothing. I think that will open. I think that's kind of just like pulling open the door and cramming your foot in there, and then you can't close it again, right?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of the starting point. It makes you start to go. It makes you start to ask additional questions about the universe and be like, well, if we found that, what else is out there? And you're right, it's not going to have the same impact.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Well,
no impact.
I would say if we were to find life within our own solar system off of the Earth, like if we found a life at Europa, if we found life at Enceladus or underground on Mars or something like that, or the flying monkeys that are clearly in Jupiter's atmosphere, that would, at least in terms of science, that would rock everything that we would understand. Yeah, exactly, right? So that's why we like the moon. Mostly because it's close to us. But I kind of derailed myself there. It's all right. But it would definitely help in terms of like astrobiology and things like that. You're pulling it up, of course.
Oh yeah, we like the moon because it is close to us. We like the moon. Yeah, welcome memes from the early aughts.
Oh,
not as much as
days
a moon.
of sitting in the high school computer lab and seeing this. So
That I'm just showing off, and then
Yeah.
remember when you text me and have my screen up
Yeah,
on that.
yep, sorry.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
fine.
good job,
I
Dutta.
noticed
Now
that.
we'll all go back and read what you said, James.
Thanks for the heads up, though. That's great.
Yeah,
That's good to know.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I was trying to figure out
He-
6 ways to do that.
He
and
was
it just
he was
wasn't
trying he was
working.
trying to keep me modest. Is what he was trying to do.
Gotcha. I don't think it worked.
No,
Nope,
like why
no.
be modest? It's
Backfill.
this show. It's fine.
Backfired.
Enjoy the view.
I see stars.
yeah, I agree, Lisa. Best part of the show. I am blushing. I am legitimately blushing. On that note, oh my God, we got anything else on James Webb for now? Or are we?
No, I was
wrap
just
it?
gonna go check the air conditioner and make sure it was.
Woo! I do want to thank everyone who helped to make this
Wait, what
awkward part of the episode happen.
At least
What?
I'm not wearing shorts.
Oh my God, yeah. It's a common theme in this show is we just like to show off our bits.
That's the other channel. For
Jamie.
That's the what? It's Jamie's bits. That is the other channel.
There it is.
Oh my God. Neurostream, we have different levels. Just cycle
Oh
through
my
them, Dada. These are all the people
breathe.
who helped to make this show happen.
Oh, good Lord.
By contributing over at youtube.com/TMRO/join. There are different levels that you can join at, and everyone's name that you see on the screen here is someone who has contributed financially to the show. And of course, there are other ways to contribute to the show as well.
That's right.
If you want to help us out just by simply giving us your time, it's really helpful when we're doing like script research for our space news stories. Like I did the SLS story, and we had the noologist in the Discord room, And God, who else was there? Was it Loopy? I think it was Loopy as well.
Yeah.
I had Ryan and myself and Dutta was in there, and we were all just going back and forth and arguing.
Although, strangely to note, you didn't keep my accurate correction in your script, which I was very disappointed to see.
No, I
because
think we.
I feel like at Tomorrow we should strive to not provide misinformation
No,
to the wider space community, and by stating that Atlantis is the best
Can you
orbiter,
just
that's
mute his mic?
a clear breach of that guideline.
No, it's not.
Wow.
I mean,
gotta let you go.
no, I don't think you did. I think you just stopped talking.
Oh.
No, I mean, the facts are, and this is scientifically proven. Atlantis is the best orbiter, and there is no.
Yeah, wait, and how is that scientifically proven? How is
science,
that been...
Ryan?
Yeah,
with science.
but
So
how?
I don't.
Well,
Reflections of the opinions of the host do not reflect tomorrow.
If you've been affected by any of the views expressed in this program, contact us.
Yeah.
So if
our opinions are ours alone, and better than yours.
If you'd like to be a part of this chaos, you can help by contributing to the Space News episodes by helping with scripts. If there are people who are good at video editing, it would be great to be able to have people helping us edit these Space News, because Space News takes a great deal of time and effort and research and energy, and the more people that can contribute, the better. Financial support helps too, right? It costs money to keep the station on orbit, right?
Yeah, we have a hell of an air conditioning bill.
Is that going back to the 1,000 degrees Celsius Earth-like planet?
Yes, exactly. It's hot back there, let me tell you.
1,000 C Earth.
So that's actually this Planet Calf is how we figured out you need the 12 million BTU air conditioner, because we're actually super close right now.
So here are the potential names for this particular episode. We has.
Wow, episode.
This is why we're winding down. We've got Physics Has Been Stable. Still one of my favorites. Beyond the Infrared Rainbow. That's a good one.
Somewhere over the infrared rainbow.
Somewhere over. The Physics of Light is so wild. That's a pretty good Jared quote.
Well, I mean, it is. So.
And then 1,000 degrees Celsius Earth-like planet is another good one. I like that one too. No, not your favorite. So it's between Physics Has Been Stable and Somewhere Beyond the Infrared Rainbow. All right.
And what was the third one?
The Physics of Light is so wild.
Yeah, I think that one works too. So.
Okay, so no, it was down. Okay, so there are 4 of us, right? So there are 4 of these. So
okay,
let's do. We'll eliminate 1,000 degrees Celsius, and then each person will eliminate one, and then the last person gets to choose. Wait, that doesn't work, does it?
No.
I don't know what we're gonna do. We'll figure it out in post show. How's that?
This is why you should become a member, so that way you can help us choose.
The other reason you should become a member, and this is very, very important, is because something like this can happen.